IVM.
Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of the Musafir Stories, India's very own travel podcast, where each week we discuss the story of travelers in their own words and relive their experiences with you, our listeners. Hi guys, I'm Saif with my co-host Faiza, and we have a very special episode lined up for you today. Has a movie ever inspired you to travel to a far-flung destination and retrace the steps of your favorite movie star? Our guest, Kartik Kannan, and his friends did just that. So sit back and enjoy as we find out where Kartik and his friends take us to in what they call the Beach Trail 2017. So with that introduction, I'd like to welcome Kartik Kannan from the blog Katchu Travels. Kartik, thank you so much for being a part of the Musafir Stories and welcome to the podcast.
Welcome, Kartik.
Thank you, Saif and Feza. It's my pleasure to also be on your podcast. So looking forward to an interesting chat.
Yeah,
We're very happy to have you.
Absolutely. Kartik, the introduction about you is really short and concise. Why don't you go ahead and tell our listeners a little about yourself? Also, please let us know when did the travel bug bite you?
Okay. I do a multitude of things. I help a lot of Indian startups on product management consulting.
Mm-hmm.
I do that, and then I also go shoot weddings in return for money.
Wow.
I travel around. Started with some travel documentaries for now, of which the Beach Trail was the first. So apart from all of this, I play dad to a very naughty 5.5-year-old son. So I have my hands full. Well, we're coming back to your second question, which is when did the travel bug bite me?
Mm-hmm.
See, back in the days when I used to grow up, I was born in Hyderabad, grew up in Delhi. So I'm otherwise my base is Chennai.
Oh, okay.
So I've always traveled to Chennai in the summer holidays,
Okay.
and I just loved sitting next to the train in the window seat, and that. And it's so nice and beautiful to go watch sceneries unfold by, because every station or maybe every 1 hour sceneries change
Absolutely,
people change. The vada pav becomes vada, and then just only the pav as you go from Chennai to Bombay. So having seen all that, I think that's remained a constant, and I kind of keep that even now because I always travel sleeper class because that window seat has kind of stayed on.
No.
So I think it started when we used to do these long travels from Chennai and I enjoyed these 2-day travels back then. So that's how it started.
Amazing.
Awesome. And I completely agree on the window seat, especially for some of us kids from the 90s. The window seat holds a special place, and I'm sure even for kids now, but things might have changed a little. Maybe it's in a plane now, or I don't know, but that window seat holds a special place.
No, I said I actually find parents mollycoddling their children today. Like, if my child travels, it has to travel in a second AC or a third AC compartment.
That's
The
true.
problem is the beauty of connecting with the environment goes. And in those compartments, nobody speaks to you as much as like a sleeper or even lesser.
Absolutely.
But I know it's a trade-off between cleanliness and being talking. So my son doesn't have too many options. So
Kartik, getting on with the flow of the interview, what we usually do each week or each episode when we speak to our guest travelers is we request them to take us on a journey to an Indian destination. But we're making an exception this week because the subject that you've chosen to speak about or talk about excites us, and we are sure it will excite a lot of our listeners. So having said that and having given a little bit of a preview, why don't you tell our listeners a little bit more about the Beach Trail 2017, as you're calling it? Give them a little bit of a summary, and then take us into a deep dive of what you did, how long of a trip was this. So let's get started with the Beach Trail 2017.
Sure. I think I'd love to tell people usually about the places that I go to. And it just so happened sometime in 2008, I think I was studying my MBA then. And the course had just got over, so I'd called a couple of friends over home, and we were just trying to rent out DVDs. So one of the movies we picked that evening happened to be The Beach. And it kind of fascinated me in terms of how the main character in the movie actually says that, the way people travel is, seek the comfort of their homes when they go abroad and travel. And that kind of hit me. And that's exactly what a lot of people end up doing, because the first thing they go plan their holiday is, okay, let's book a hotel and then let's book a tour around.
Yeah. Right.
But I think the essence of travel is about maybe just booking your ticket to that place and then figuring out what you want to do there as things go by. And everybody has their own styles.
Right.
But I kind of liked the way Leonardo DiCaprio in the movie decides to go and explore. And exploring the unknown is, it is risky. But I think as long as, you are within your own limits, you're not someone as crazy to go, jump into the middle of the sea and then expect adventure there. But I think as long as you stay within limits, you can actually enjoy a lot. And, nature has its own way of, letting you in on secrets that otherwise tourists don't find. So
Absolutely.
that's what the movie was about. And Leonardo goes to Thailand in search of, and he finds a secret, he finds a letter which basically tells the route to the secret beach. And then they go discover that. So I saw that movie and it kind of struck me. It didn't strike me much at that point. I said, okay, this is beautiful. How I wish I could maybe do that. Maybe all of what they're showing is graphics.
Okay.
Then a year later, I saw a Facebook post, and Facebook was still not used by many people back in 2009. A Facebook post of like a green color sea. And I said, this looks similar to what I had seen in that movie. And somebody said that this was Phi Phi Island in Thailand. And luckily, within like a couple of months, I ended up there at Phi Phi Islands.
Wow.
And I discovered that place was like 30 years past its prime, because traveler had discovered it, and it's like very crowded. It was more crowded than Marina Beach in Chennai. Chennai is where I largely come from. So that whole experience left me with a pretty sad feeling, saying that, okay, this paradise is already gone. And then when I again saw reruns of the movie, I realized that the route they take is actually on the east coast of Thailand. But they have actually gone and shot the beach only for that, a bunch of scenes in Phuket, which is near Phuket, the Phi Phi Islands, which is the southwestern side of the island.
Okay.
Right.
So that's when it occurred, okay, maybe if I do the same trail, which is basically Bangkok to Surat Thani, and that's how Leonardo DiCaprio says it. In that funny accent, with like Bangkok to Surat Thani to Nathon, and Nathon to Chaweng. And the way he says that, I think in my mind, I've already pictured 4 different scenes of how he's, got there. But that's always been a dream. But it's, I think, just about finding the right people, and, you just need to have a good, good price for you to actually go there.
Absolutely, yeah.
So it just so the stars were aligned sometime earlier this year when I decided to go there, and and that's how the trip started.
Wow.
Awesome. So who are your partners in crime, if I may, on this?
Partners in crime? One guy was called Vikram. He helps me. He's like an intern with me. So wherever I go on photo assignments for weddings or for events, he helps me. Awesome. And he otherwise has a full-time job in Cognizant as a data scientist.
Wow.
And the other person was one of my ex-colleagues. We used to work at a travel company together. Both of us were product managers then. Okay. And he started his own firm in Koramangala. So, given Koramangala is like the Silicon Valley of startups everywhere. So he's just got started, and he's had a pretty busy time. So he wanted to take a break. Okay. So when I told these guys about good rates, we found a rate I think for about $10,000 return to go to Bangkok and come. So I asked them, like, shall we go do this trail? And it also coincides with their Songkaran festival, which is their water festival, like our Holi.
Right.
So maybe not, like, I think it was one long 3-hour WhatsApp conversation. We went back and forth, saw good rates on Skyscanner, and then we decided, okay, let's just go book it right away, because we will not get those rates. And so it just happened in a blink in 3 hours. And then we decided, now we were going to Alex Garland's world. I mean, I'm saying Alex Garland because he was the writer of the original book called The Beach, which was then made into a movie by Danny Boyle.
Right.
So that's the background behind how it actually started.
Awesome. So that's nice little bit of context for people wondering what the beach trail is. So let's get started now. Take us through your journey on day one. You said you got off at the airport and took an Uber. So where next to? What was your next mode of transport, and where did it take you to?
Yeah. So I think like 5 days back before starting the trip, while we had only booked our to and return tickets, we had not planned anything in between because we wanted it to be spontaneous. But beyond the point, I realized that we anyway still have like a huge journey to get to Bangkok, and since we were on a budget, we couldn't basically book a flight from Bangkok. So we had to do this calculation. Okay, is it cheaper if I basically from the Don Mueang airport, which is the airport that AirAsia flies into, can we take a flight directly from Don Mueang to Surat Thani? Because that means I don't spend on taxi. I just spend directly on a flight. Or do I take a taxi out from the Don Mueang airport to Bangkok city and then take a bus plus ferry combination? We figure out that the bus plus ferry combination is slightly cumbersome, but actually it's like slowly easing you into the journey and at a at like 1/3 the cost. So we were able to see that math and then decide 5 days prior that I think it's better we go ahead book this. Right. But while we did that, we then had to figure our way out, and that's the only struggle that we had in the morning. But luckily we were able to find an Uber and get to this place called it's called Koh Samui Road. So Koh Samui Road and Rambutri Road are the like two roads that meet, and at that junction is where the buses were waiting. So we were there, I think like 5:15, 5:20, we were already there at the place 40 minutes before, and we had some time to go to the local supermarket. It's open 24 hours to go get us some vegetarian cookies to last till the evening because we were going to ship till the evening, and they don't provide you any food there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we went to this place in Bangkok, took our bus at 6 a.m, and I think it was just the first half hour we were admiring Bangkok because the city transitioned into the villages, the rural countryside, and so many beautiful highways. But I think it was after 45 minutes, our natural instincts took over and we just had to sleep. One, it's an air conditioner. Second, our sleep was completely broken. We had our flight from Chennai at, I think, somewhere around midnight. And we landed there at 3 a.m. So that way, we only slept for a couple of hours. And then as soon as you get up, you will have to go run around with immigration. Right. So slept. And there was this interesting incident where I forgot that we were on a double-decker bus. And I just wanted to go ask the driver, okay, where are we? And I think there's no driver here. And then it occurred to me that we're on a double deck.
Yeah, okay. Especially when you're in that dreamy state, right? Just woken up out of sleep.
Just woken up, yeah. So, and it was, I think we reached this little town called Chumphon. Okay. It's apparently a World War II bunker too, but I don't think Thailand tourism promotes it so well. But it's inside a national park. That's where the ferry is. Okay. And then we got on the ferry and we met like some very interesting, very colorful people on the ferry. Okay. But it was nice. That whole scenery, because that's where we started seeing the color of paradise. Blue color, green color. And those are not the colors you'd otherwise see anywhere in India. I've probably seen that in Agonda in Goa and maybe Rameshwaram. There are some very nice beaches because it's closer to Sri Lanka. But I haven't seen that color so far in India, that aquamarine kind of bluish green.
Absolutely.
And that was our like standout moment sitting in the ship, wind hitting our face. It was very, very calm and peaceful. The only noise was that of the ship, but it's like, it's on auto mute because you're playing some of the music on your ear and you're actually in a different world.
Well, that's true. It's like a dream come true.
Yeah, and actually the music I had on there's this track from the beach called Moby. Moby is the person who's composed the music. So that was a track that was playing because I actually wanted to feel like one of those characters in the So that was how most of the journey was spent on the ship. And then we reached this island called Koh Samui, which is otherwise known as an island only meant for parties in accordance with the position of the moon. You have a full moon party, you have a black moon party, there's basically a party every week.
Wow.
So while that island is known for that, I have been before to the island, and on that trip I had briefly discovered that there's so much more to that island in terms of diversity, but people just end up going to this part of the full moon party place. So that way you have, so one advice is always, if you're going to Koh Samui, keep your base as Hadrin if you're looking to stay there for more than 5 days. Okay. Because nobody will give you rooms for 2 nights or 3 nights. It's always for a 5-night combo.
Oh, Lord. Okay,
so with that's long. And And all of these constraints are put, especially when it's the full moon party season. So we went there, I think, on the 8th of April. 11th or 12th night was the full moon. So the full moon party. So as soon as we went there, we checked into our hostel, charged our phones, and we discovered that the Wi-Fi signal is very weak.
Oh.
And we then kind of ditched it. We had anyway taken SIMs. And one other note of this thing is, in Chennai, at the Chennai airport, they sell you Thai SIMs.
Really?
It's a scam.
Okay.
They sell you Thai SIMs, and I think I paid 1,200 for it. You should never fall for the scam. They said this is like 1 week of complete internet, no unlimited usage. And I go to Thailand, discover that within the first 2 hours of landing, all of the data is gone. There is no credit on the phone, and I'm not able to reach customer care. So you actually have enough time when you get down, even if it's at 3 a.m, to go buy a SIM card in either the Mueang airport or the Suvarnabhumi airport. And the internet is great. 4G works like a charm, even if you're in the most deserted of places. And I'm saying this because we used to have video calls, because each of us used to take off in our own directions. So just to show where we were and what we were doing, we used to have regular video calls just within ourselves.
Awesome.
So we had that much of bandwidth to play around with. So yeah, we landed there, and I think the other advice is take up a hostel, which is in a popular place, because you will end up saving a lot of money on food. Because otherwise you have to go to some place which is nearby your place, and you will end up spending more. So we used to go in the morning, buy fresh fruits, and have them in our haversack. And when we just found a good beach, on our drive, we would just sit there, finish our fruits, and that used to be like our meal between meals. And it's easy, it's fresh, and you don't have to worry about food poisoning, vegetarian. Since three of us were, we had to make sure we had our supply. It was like a trekking expedition where you plan your food prior. So we did have our we did try out the local pad thai, but it can get a little too spicy. There is a vegetarian version of pad thai that if you tell them, they will make it. But otherwise, pad thai is supposed to be vegetarian, but as I said, the definition of vegetarian is very different for different parts of as soon as you get out of India. So you have to be a little careful there.
Yeah,
and one question, Kartik, how about booking the hotels? How did you guys do that? Or was it online?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Yeah. So while we booked our flights on Skyscanner, we booked our hotel through hostelbookers.com.
Okay.
So Hostel Bookers or hostels.com will give you, the availability in the various hostels nearby. But there are a lot of luxury places, in case someone on the podcast here is listening and they say, okay, they don't want to stay in hostels, they want to stay in good hotels. There are a lot of luxury properties, and you get properties like beach-facing rooms at about 3,000, 4,000 a night, and it's just that much, not very costly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the island has, so you would otherwise, you could find all of these rooms on a lot of other Asian booking websites. So any of these OTAs will kind of give you those rooms. I think you could even book it on GoIBO, like Indian sites out trip. So it's available.
Okay.
Awesome. So getting on with your trail, if I may. So you were based out of the Hadran area, you said, right, Kartik? And you had a few days before the full moon party. So how did you kind of spend that time? What are some of the things you did?
So while we had come in that ship and in the ferry to Koh Samui, we met with a couple of travelers who already told us of some nice places inside. They said there's a couple of nice waterfalls.
Okay.
While we couldn't go to one, but it helped us put a mental map of, okay, there's this waterfall here. We should have like a day out at the waterfalls, but which day we didn't plan.
Okay.
So the next morning when we got up a little late, we tried putting pen to paper, and then we figured out that, okay, let's just enjoy the day out at the beach. We're still feeling, from where we came from. So we decided to find a beach nearby. Okay. And we found this little paradise called Coco Hut Beach. We were there for a day. It was like picture postcard, again, blue waters, blue skies, white sand, and the trees are like in various angles. Reminds you of Goa a bit in terms of how the place looked. But yeah, there were like not more than 10-15 people on the beach. So that way I think we found a jackpot, spent the whole day there, then spent the evening playing beach volleyball, and then we anyway ended up making more friends, speaking to people. So the next day we decided, okay, we'll take a bike. While they have a lot of tours where they take people out in a vehicle, we didn't want to kind of be constrained by someone else's plan. And we knew that, okay, as in the movie, we wanted to go find one faraway island somewhere in the middle of the sea. So we had planned that after the full moon party.
Okay.
And we wanted like a couple of nice waterfalls, and we just wanted to jump inside the water. Well, I'm not trying to really be Leonardo here, but I think we just wanted that whole spirit of, can we do similar things?
Right.
Yeah.
So that's when we decided, okay, first day spent at Coco Beach. We then went on the next day to the extreme north.
Okay.
And we didn't make a fixed plan, because as we were traveling to one of those beaches, my friend said that this waterfall looks nice. Why don't we go here?
Mm.
And we ended up spending, I think, the whole day at two different waterfalls, which were very close by.
Nice.
So,
yeah, what were these waterfalls called again, Kartik?
the first waterfall was called the Paradise Waterfall. It's a very simple name. I think they just... Some don't come and say, "Oh man, this looks like paradise," and then okay, let's name it Paradise. So one was Paradise, and Paradise was like a multi-layered waterfall, and each of these waterfalls are multi-layered. So we would spend time at each of those layers. And this was set in the midst of one tropical forest. So one is you have to get inside a tough jungle path to first get in there.
Mm.
And then it's so relaxing. And it feels like one mint massage. I don't know why I use the term there. But when the water comes and hits you, you feel very chill and cool. Just like the way menthol melts in your tongue. So your back feels like that when the water comes and hits you, and you're just there for like half an hour inside. So that was our agenda. Just go get wet in the waterfall, sit there in the water, and no distractions or mobile phones around. Yeah, we did have a couple of our phones, and that's how we filmed, because we didn't want to have too much professional kit and film it, because our primary aim is to enjoy as travelers, and then what you can document. And a lot of what you see in the little documentary we've done was shot on our phones.
Yeah.
So with the phones, I think these days the phones are pretty good with the iPhone 7 and the Samsung S7 Edge.
Yeah.
So, decent clarity of video. So that way, we didn't lose much on the whole impetus behind, just having a very relaxed trip and exploring those places. So yeah, there was Faying Waterfall then next, right after the other waterfall, Paradise Waterfall.
Mm-hmm.
And Faying was, I spent one complete sunset there, because I was a little tired after walking a lot. So my friend decided to go to the top of the waterfall.
Okay.
Abhi went there. Vikram and I decided to be at the base. And this was surreal sights, because the sun is like cutting through a layer of forests, and the way it colors the greens, it's a lovely sight. And this is like the golden hour that otherwise photographers talk about. So it made that scene even more beautiful. And there was a lady playing with her kid. And I was just spending like, I think, an hour completely drenched inside water trying to take shots of that kid. Like the expressions that the kid was giving and was playing, and it reminded me that I have a little 5.5-year-old son back home. So I was feeling very attached that I couldn't bring him on a trip like this. So, but we had kept a separate trip for ourselves right after this. That's for a different discussion. But so that's how we spent our time on that day, which is day 2,
right? Yeah, and it sounds like a very relaxing and completely different experience from your day 1, right? That was completely on a beach, and this one is amongst the waterfalls in a tropical forest, so must have been a different experience, but nonetheless a very good experience. So after the waterfalls and everything, was it already time for the full moon party, or did you still have a day between?
We still had a day.
Okay.
And so we then came back, and again the next morning we set off. We found an Indian restaurant. So when you're in Copenhagen, you have this place called Om Ganesh. So that's in case someone is looking to travel to Copenhagen. Yes, there is an Indian restaurant in the main area.
Okay.
We can look to go there for some familiar food. And from there, again, since we had the bike and we had filled in fuel. Another point in fuel, if you fill in fuel right at Hadrin, it's going to be expensive.
Okay.
They sell it in bottles. You need to go a little deeper on the highway. You will find the lone petrol pump on the island. There things are cheaper. I think it's about 37 bahts there.
Okay.
So I think we filled in a lot of fuel. So we just knew that we could take the bike anywhere and not worry about getting stranded.
Right, absolutely.
And it's pretty convenient to have, right? Even though there is shared autos and other modes of transport, if you have a bike, you can pretty much make your own plans on your whims and fancies. You can change course as and when you wish.
Exactly, and that's a beautiful freedom that you have, because I remember we did off-roading for 2-3 different places, even during our trips to the waterfall. We were late because we suddenly saw a beautiful beach, and we kind of saw an orchard farm, went to the orchard, plucked some fruits, sat by the beach, and then went back. So this is a trip that can be, totally decided by you. You don't have to, worry about, okay, because sometimes it's an organized trip, you need to report at 9 o'clock at one particular place.
Yeah,
There is a normal stress and hassle of, you're more stressed out than you're actually happy.
Yeah, that's
so that way, not so good to be part of them. But if you don't do two-wheeler riding, then I don't think you have too much of an option there.
Yeah.
I absolutely love your trip so far. You started off with a flight and then a double-decker bus and then a ferry, and then you've been walking around and then a scooter. Wow.
And wait, there's a train also coming up a little late.
Oh my God. Okay, I want to hear more.
So you've gone the full mile.
Yeah, we've gone the full mile. Every mode of transport, like in a week.
Awesome. So yeah, what did you do on this day, the spare day you had before the full moon party? Because I'm assuming that was one of the highlights of the trip, right? The full moon party. A lot of people might have been there for that.
So that way, at the full moon party, while you call it a highlight, right? It's fun because of people doing body painting and a lot of people in this very happy mood.
Yeah.
That's definitely funny. But the thing is, you don't have a specific event that you're going to go there. Nothing is organized as such there.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of travelers who get onto the beach. But I think that we didn't keep that as a highlight. That was a stop for us.
Okay.
Because it was just another event where the full moon party, where we were not somebody who would we were not there for either the alcohol or the music, because it's not something that we understand.
Right.
So that way, we weren't the ideal yuppie crowd who was waiting for the full moon party. But it's a beautiful event. You get to meet a lot of people. People are very honest about the fact that they've come there to for a lot of enjoyment.
Uh-huh.
But as you said, the next day we started, and then we went on the same route again. This time we went to a place called Shaloklam.
Okay.
Shaloklam is a very small fishing village in the north. And again, we found very few people on the beach. So the only decisions we had to make is, okay, should I go left? Should I go right? That's it. So, in a normal day, you're thinking, okay, should I send this email? Should I do that? There's so many questions. So here we were in a very, very relaxed state of mind. And I wanted to go to find some desolate beach, which is like completely cut off. And I saw one beach there.
Okay.
And my friends were like, okay, this guy mad. Okay, I don't want to do this. So they said, okay, I'll meet you on the other side. We don't subscribe to this idea of, getting desolate on some beach. So, and we had to actually swim across this very small partition. It was like a water body lagoon, but it was very deep. And obviously, you don't know swimming in those areas. You don't want to take risks.
Right.
Luckily, I had a boatman coming, and he was surprised that I even asked him to go to the other side. I don't think he would have ever got that request, because he is somebody who's a local boatman. So I paid him some 30 bahts, and he dropped me to the other side and said that this is not his job. He just did it because he was anyway going somewhere that side, and he wouldn't come back. So that would mean I would have. So I would have to actually get inside the forest, if it was a hill from there, trek all the way down. It would take me close to another 1.5 hours to come back to the same point.
Oh my God. Okay.
Said, okay, this island is probably worth it. And I just went there, lied down in the water. And this was beautiful therapy. And people can maybe do this. Just lie down on the beach and the waves keep hitting your ear. And it's like listening to this, very peaceful music where it has reverberations every few seconds. And that's what I was doing. I would never imagine myself sleeping in water. And I actually did that for about 45 minutes. So it was very nice sleeping, and then also time for a couple of nice photographs where, you show your beach slipper and say, I'm in this nice paradise, and you send it to friends on WhatsApp just to irritate their daily schedule.
Yeah.
So I had some time for that, and then I started walking inside the forest, and I found somebody with a car there. So they said, we're anyway going down, and they had come there for some treatment. So apparently there was a doctor in the woods, so they had come there, and they said they'll drop me to the 7-Eleven, which is where I said I'd meet my friend.
Nice.
So that way I was lucky that...
Things fell in
otherwise
place, right? Yeah. From the boatman to these guys dropping you off, I think everything fell in place.
That's why I say, if you desire great things, nature will find a way to give that to you. And I know Polo said that, and Shah Rukh Khan made a very poor copy of that.
Yeah.
In that movie, Om Shanti Om.
Yeah.
And yeah, but it's true. It's true in a way. That
true.
Nature somehow discovers and gives these gifts to you. So I was lucky that I found someone who was good, willing to drop me there. And then we again got on the bike, had some pad thai for lunch, and drove to the next beach. Little bumpy though, but that beach, as soon as we came in, we thought the main attraction in the beach was a bunch of stones that were kept on each other. But actually, that wasn't an attraction. A lot of travelers, even coming after us, thought that was the main attraction of the beach.
Okay.
But only like the last 2 days, there were a couple of travelers from UK who had basically positioned rocks in such a way that it's one on top of the other. And I thought they'd put some glue there because that's how I could think. But they've actually kept these rocks one on top of the others in such a way that the wave also is not able to pull the rocks down.
Right.
So they've put this structure. So I met with them. I was asking them how did they do it, because it's like a lot of painstaking work. And they figure out, they cut rocks, see the angles. It's a strange hobby to have, but and it's something that kept them going, on the beach. So anything for any kind of work that is very different from what you're doing. So I spent most of the evening with them, trying to understand how they do this. Nice. And then we just spent sunsets sitting on the beach, each of us in 3 different places, but on the same beach. And sunsets are beautiful there. For some reason, one is, it's like 3 phases of sunset. One is when the whole sea is orange, and then it gets to a point where the sea is blue, and then you have the sky. It's like streaks, like you have streaks of hair colored. You have streaks of the sky colored in like pink and blue, while the sea is only blue. And then there is this thing where there is no difference between the sky and the sea, which is like post 6:37 in the evening, where everything is blue. And so I was just trying out some long exposure shots there to try and see how this could be better shown. And a few shots came out well. But I just loved the evening there. It was very peaceful. You were just staring at the sunset, not doing anything. So it's like private time with yourself in front of the sun. Absolutely. And then, we just got ready for the manic rush that was to come in the evening with the full moon party. You start feeling the manic rush, even though, you're not going to do much there. There isn't much of a day. But there is this palpable energy where everyone was, the whole town was heading to Hadrin. Yeah. So we also wanted to, partake in some of the festivities. So we decided to go buy a couple of full moon party T-shirts and then some body paint. So we had like funny body paint all over us, some message or the other. And with all the body paint, I think we were a little late. We should have gone out there about 7:38, but I think we stepped out of our hostel only at about 12 in the night or so.
Oh Lord, okay.
I'm like, okay, we actually felt like being obsessed over makeup. We just felt that we had to have all of those colors, and in our hostel they were taking turns to paint each other. So we left along with them, and then the next I saw them was at 8 in the morning. So because everybody went their own directions, and otherwise it has a great vibe. Because as soon as you get to the beach, the sight of 30,000 people on like one beach is huge. And this is not like some. I know you'd see this in Ganpati Visarjan anywhere in India, but it's since these are all youngsters with throbbing energy. Everybody's wearing similar clothing, with like beach clothing, with attracting psychedelic lights, and people are dancing in the waters. And there's like. It's like, every 10 meters you move, you're listening to a different tune. So it goes from Bob Marley to EDM to popular music like Ed Sheeran as you keep walking. So it feels like there is a playlist change every 10 meters that you walk. But it's just music that plays everywhere. But then my friend and I saw the early morning sunrise, and I actually slept on the beach itself while the sunrise was on.
I was just about to ask you that. Like, did you end up dozing off in between?
Oh, no, not with that music.
Not with the music, I think, okay.
After 6 o'clock, I was dozing the whole day. And as I told you a couple of days back, we had decided on, after hearing that there was a couple of islands called the Anthong Marine Islands, we decided we'll do those islands right after the full moon party. And since I hadn't slept for 2 days, I just found it very tough to mentally just switch on. I just wanted to go and sleep, but I was the one who, planned this for the trail. So my friends were like, you only planned it, we were like so tired. But I think those two somehow still had energy. Okay. Because I remember there was a van that came to pick us up, I was sleeping inside the van. I was sleeping when I was sitting inside the waiting area. And when we finally went to do snorkeling, I was sleeping while I was snorkeling. And that's when I said, okay, I can't do this anymore. I will have to go to the boat and, just get like half an hour of sleep. It felt very similar to childhood when your mother wakes you up and you say, I just want those 10 minutes of sleep.
Yeah.
So unfortunate that it had to happen in such a beautiful place. But I think after a good lunch, my friends were like saying, come on, man, you've done all this far and you're coming and sleeping here, not done. So they kind of shook me up and then asked me to, like, go take these photos. It's a nice place to go and do. So they were kind of egging me on to get out of the sleep. But it's just that I haven't gone without sleeping for like 2 days continuously. So it's like something very different for me.
Yeah.
So otherwise, once the energy started setting, I even did a mountain trek. So then this was this very beautiful place called the Anthong Marine National Park.
Okay.
They allow camping, and camping is as cheap as like 150 bahts.
Nice.
So if anybody is planning a trip that side, it's not touristy at all. You do have boats coming there, but it's not very crowded.
Okay.
So not as crowded as Fifi.
Okay.
So
and how did you get there from the place of the full moon party? Was that Hadran Beach?
Yeah, from Hadrin, there is a pier there, and in that pier they have boats that go to. This is called, as I said, Anthong Marine National Park, and they combine a few other places too.
Okay.
You also get this from Koh Samui as a place that people can go to.
Okay.
But it's not like in the movie Beach where you just go tell a random boatman, come, you take me to that island. I've discovered it doesn't happen that. But I'm sure there are a lot of such islands because there were like 42 islands there in the vicinity where if you climb the trek right on the mountain, you will see 42 islands out there.
Nice.
And these are all small islands.
Mm-hmm.
It's a beautiful view at the top, and you have a green mineral lake, which is again right behind where the mountain base, the top of the mountain. Okay. So one side you're seeing these 42 islands, right behind you're seeing this emerald green lake, and it's as green as like the movie The Beach. So while we know that the beach wasn't shot in that particular place, I think it gives you the same vibe in terms of a place that's completely cut off from any kind of civilization. I don't think there are any hotels there. You only have the camping places where you're allowed to camp.
Okay.
So, and after that, we were basically going to, we had planned it in such a way that this was the 13th of April. 13th, 14th and 15th are the dates for the Songkaran festival in Thailand, which is like a Holi.
Right.
So we decided the main Songkaran festival happens in a place called Chiang Mai, which is like the hills up in the north.
Okay, please go
Chiang Mai is like the traditional place for the Songkaran festival. Okay. And then it's also celebrated in a grand scale in Bangkok. So while we've heard about that, and there is this opening scene in the beach, if you have the original DVD, they do have like an alternate scenes in the movie. They had an alternate opening scene where Leonardo DiCaprio is coming and he's hit by water guns everywhere. So it was like, okay, this is part of the trail that we were trying to do. So we decided that we will divide our time. So we will have Songkaran at a beach town. We don't know how it will be in a beach town. So we decided we'll do Songkaran on the 13th there. And then we decided, like, while in Copenhagen one of the nights, we decided we'll also book a train ticket there. And train tickets, unfortunately, are not as easy as like IRCTC there. You need to go to an agent. The website either is not working or it's in Thai and you can't understand. And you're going to have a very tough time communicating if there is some cancelled train or cancelled order. It's always better to go to a local travel agent and ask them to book a train ticket for you. It's like they're still about 20 years behind India on train ticket technology. Everything is physical there.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good bit of advice then.
Yeah, you should. And the trains are beautiful, very clean, very beautiful. But yeah, you should find a nice agent to do that for you. Okay. So we did that. And our first stop we took the morning ferry from Copenhagen, went to Koh Tao. Koh Tao is a beautiful island and it's supposed to be the world's cheapest place for scuba diving. So if you want a scuba diving certificate, that is the place to go. Okay. It'll probably be cheaper than the Andamans or Lakshadweep. Though these are beautiful places to go to, it's still cheaper because if you get a good fare on AirAsia, you would, and it's not going to take you too much to get to Koh Tao. And the underwater diving comes to about 18,000 or 20,000. I think it's about 27, 28 in India.
Oh. Okay, interesting. And then this is the place where you took part in the Songkaran festival, right? Okay.
So we wanted to take part there. As soon as we landed and we had all of our luggage, so we decided to go keep it in a place. And my friend was, again, one of the friends was very tired. He said, you guys go wherever you want to. I just want to sit here. I don't want to move anywhere. So I saw a couple of people playing Songkaran, but it feels a little odd to come and say, hey, can I also play this game? The last we've done that is, when you were in childhood, a bunch of kids play, say, can I join? So my friend said, don't worry about all that. Let's just get on one of those public transport vehicles. We'll just have to invest in a gun. We buy a gun, we're part of the game automatically. So, and then it just so happened we got on one of those public transport songtas, and then people within the songtas it was spraying water at us, and we were part of that game.
Awesome.
And it was amazing because since it was a beach town, right, there were no restrictions. When I say restrictions, when we figured out the next day in Bangkok, you would have to pay for refilling water. So every time you took water, you'd have to pay 20 bahts for it. While in Koh Tao, the locals used to keep all of the water outside. They used to keep the ice outside. So they weren't restrictive. And in a place like Bangkok, you're not allowed to take your shirt off and play with the water guns, because I don't see a point of being dressed up to play this game. So in Bangkok, you're basically expected to do that. So it was very restrictive in some of the other places. Maybe it's to do with Thai culture, and we kind of respect that. But in a beach town, the ambience is far more relaxed. People are not going to come and put restrictions or make it very commercial. Yeah. So that way, I think we had a raucous time for the next couple of hours, to the point where I think we just suddenly realized that it's only 20 minutes to our ferry, and our friend is actually sitting there. And we didn't have cash because we had just taken one note, and that was already spent in getting here. So it was tricky on our way back. We didn't have cash, and we had to basically go back. So both my friend Abhi and I took two different vehicles to get to the ferry. I think we reached just with like 5 minutes to go. And then we figured out the ferry was late by 1.5 hours. So it wasn't worth all the effort.
But still a sigh of relief.
But anyway, sigh of relief. And that 1.5 hours, Abhi had opened up a few noodles packets that we had bought from India. So we had bought it closer to the Chennai airport. So we just opened up those noodles packet, found hot water somewhere nearby, and that was our lunch. And we had a beautiful. So it was a nice. So the thing is, Koh Tao was again very expensive, because it's a small island, not too many hotels around. Okay. So it gets expensive. So that way we had to we were a little conscious on our costs, because we had only withdrawn so much of cash.
Right.
So that way we were on a budget, and then we decided to have this. But it was an amazing day out in terms of playing with the waters, because I felt like a child all over again. That's how we enjoyed Songkaran, and we kind of realized after looking at it, we went the next day to Bangkok to play Songkaran, and we realized that Koh Tao wins any day. So we had a ferry that would take us to Chumphon. Right. And from there we had a train ride back. So in the movie they take a train ride too, but they take a train ride to get to Surat Thani, where we were taking a train ride in the opposite direction.
Okay.
But I think the trip kind of mentally ended as soon as we reached Bangkok. The next 2 days were just spent inside the hotel because we couldn't go out much. But I think we just used those 2 days to just gather all our memory cards, gather all our memories on like one epic trip we had.
Sounds like one hell of a trip you've had so far. Must have been quite draining too, right? Good long 9-day trip with different things to see, different modes of transport, as you mentioned. Yeah. Time spent on the beaches, the waterfalls, snorkeling, Songkaran. It's a movie. But it's been one amazing journey and one hell of a ride, I have to say.
Absolutely,
Kartik. Yeah. And thank you for taking us through this patiently. But for the rest of you who are listening and who have been enamored by this beautiful journey that Kartik and his friends made, which they call the Beach Trail, there's another way to check that out, and that is through a 4-part documentary that Kartik has compiled using his phones, basically. Him and his friends using their phones. And Kartik, please tell our listeners how they can kind of go and relive this whole journey that you've mentioned, and look at the beautiful locales and the beaches and the hues of blue and green and whites. How can one see this complete series that you've compiled?
Okay, to see this series, I think all you have to do is go on YouTube, where you search for the hashtag the Beach Trail 2017, or you go to my website, which is katchutravels.com, or my Facebook page, Katchu Travels on Facebook or Twitter. You will find links to each of these episodes.
On that note, Kartik, thank you so much for being an excellent guide and literally playing Richard. Richard was what DiCaprio was called in the movie, right?
Yeah, you just made me happy now.
So yeah, thank you for being Richard on this podcast and taking our listeners on this beautiful journey that DiCaprio takes on this movie, The Beach. So if you've already watched the movie, then definitely do go and check out Kartik's 4-part Beach Trail 2017. And if you haven't watched the movie, then just go and watch. You'll be surprised by the amount of colors and hues of nature that Thailand has to offer and that have been beautifully captured by the Beach Trail 2017. Thank you so much, and we look forward to hearing more such beautiful stories and documentaries from you, Kartik. All the best.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Kartik.
you. My pleasure too. My pleasure being on your show.
That was yet another great episode of the Musafir Stories. If you guys like the show, please subscribe to us on iTunes, Audioboom, Stitcher, Pocket Radio, or any other podcasting app that's available on iOS or Android. You could also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We go by the handle The Musafir Stories. Or, if it suits you, you could email us at themusafirstories@gmail.com and visit our website www.themusafirstories.com for more information. All of these links will be made available in the show notes section of the podcast. So here's to more traveling, sharing, and inspiring. Stay tuned for our next episode. Until then, happy travels and goodbye.